Good afternoon, everyone. Ben here. I actually finally got some time and peace and quiet to record. So this is going to be full volume instead of late at night. Uh, anyway, so today, welcome back to That Time, and this one, that time when Jackson beat a would-be assassin. And when I say Jackson, I mean this man, Andrew Jackson. I figured today would be a great time to do a shorter, funnier, that doesn't make any dang sense episode, and this is no different. But before we go into the assassin and all of this, Andrew Jackson he was our seventh president. He was our last president who was born before the Declaration of Independence was signed. In fact, he received some wounds during the Revolutionary War. He was like 14 at the time. He was from Tennessee, and he was also absolutely insane. One of his favorite hobbies was dueling. Uh, And he was also the founder of the modern Democratic Party, though there have been some changes to policy since then. The Democratic Party back in his day was supposed to be the party of the common man, and in some ways it was. He was extremely popular. He had a bit of a cult of personality around him. So, as you can suspect, that while he was loved by a large section of the population, he was also despised by an also large section of the population. Uh, so much so that the Whig Party was really just an anti-Jackson party when it was founded. It wasn't so much a party founded on certain policies. It was just a party founded on we're not that guy. So in the 1820s, the mid-1820s, or I think this was, sorry, not 1820s. I think this was in the early 1830s that this happened. Jackson was attending a funeral for a South Carolina congressman. And on his way back, out jumps a man by the name of Richard Lawrence, who thought he was the deposed King of England, Richard III, who had been dead since the late 1400s. Well, he pulls out a pistol, aims it at the president, and pulls the trigger. Misfire. So he pulls out a second one, points it at the president, pulls the trigger. Also a misfire. And this is where the story gets crazy. Normally you would expect the president's aides to, and his entourage to summarily pull this guy off and either beat him or shoot him to death, as was more likely in that day and age. But no, Andrew Jackson does it himself, and he beats the ever-loving crap out of Richard Lawrence with his cane. So much so that Jackson was the one that had to be restrained. And that was done by Davy Crockett, among a few others, who was actually a surprisingly anti-Jackson congressman from Tennessee. And then he went off to Texas to do his thing. But we'll go back to the assassination attempt and the investigation around it, because this got funny. This got weird really quickly. So the investigators found out that Richard Lawrence was an unemployed house painter who was pissed off that he had lost his job, and he thought the president was to blame, and he thought that if he assassinated the president, money would flow free, because apparently he was a supporter of the National Bank, and Jackson killed the National Bank. All sorts of other nonsense that, yeah, the president doesn't have that power, especially not back then, and definitely not in this day and age. But it gets funnier. So the investigators do finally press him, and the guy says, No, truth is, I'm actually Richard III, and Andrew Jackson is my clerk, and I think he's whatever. And obviously, Richard Lawrence was put into an insane asylum because he went off the deep end. Um, but they also inspected his guns, and they were found to be in perfect working order. You know, they tested them repeatedly. They said, okay, well, let's load this one. Nope, it works. Nope, this one works. And they kept doing it and doing it, and they couldn't find anything wrong with either of the arms. Some people said, well, divine providence must have protected Jackson like God has protected this nation. God and divine providence mean the same thing. I can't make this stuff up. This is why I like history, is because it's just chock full of these stories that don't make any sense at all. Uh, I mean, you have a president having to be restrained by Davy Crockett from beating a would-be assassin to death with a cane. It doesn't. There just needs to be a short series on television of these crazy events where they're just dramatized, because this history is full of these stories, and that's the whole point of the series, is to tell these stories. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a nice day.